Today I'm going to show you how to add windows to your 3D floor plan. There are a few ways to do this, but I'm going to show you what I think is the quickest, easiest way to get the job done. Alright, we're going to start off with the living room, creating the balcony and the sliding doors, followed by bedroom 2, the windows, and the windows for the master bedroom. Let's start by organizing the layers. Now over here, to my layers, double click on layer 1. I'm going to name this wall. Then I'm going to name this floor plan. Alright. Currently I'm in the walls layer. And in this layer, I have some reference pictures. Okay. I'm going to get rid of this by deleting it. I'm deleting away the area where the windows are supposed to be. And we're going to start by creating all these windows. So I've taken the trouble to put down all the pictures related to this apartment. And you can see in these pictures, all the windows are floor to ceiling in height. They've got a balcony here and they've got kind of like a sliding door. We're going to start by attempting to do the living room area first. These are pictures of how they look like. So these are the railings. You have stainless steel railings and glass. A view from the inside. So you got the railings there. You've got the sliding doors. We're going to start to model them out. Go to perspective view. I'm going to create a new layer over here. I'll change the color. Change this to black. This layer would be living room. Alright. You can see over here, this is the axis line, and the front of the apartment is facing the wrong way. It's facing north. I want it to face south. I'm going to select everything. Make sure you unlock all the layers. Go to the top view. Use the gumball. Just hold shift to rotate it. Then you can get this to face down like that. I'm going to lock the floor plan and we'll be in the living room layer. I'm going to start with the railings. Now, I'm going to transfer this line into the living room layer because currently this line is in the walls layer. I'm going to do that by coming over to layers located here. Select this. Select living room. Say OK. Alright, now this is in the living room layer. Go solid, extrude planar curve straight. I'm going to guess this would be 100 millimeters in height. We're creating this base, which you can see here. Right, there's this small little base here. And then the railings. I'm going to draw a center line. Now the center line is important in every modeling that you do. And this is where the railings would go. Let me just measure this. I'm going to measure from here to there. 3570. Okay. I'm going to start by taking a rectangle. Wait, actually, it might be better to use this. I'm going to guess that it's going to be 25. 25. And the width would be around 75. I'm going to guess it like that. Okay, that's about right. I'm going to move this from here to the end. Now let's take a look at the reference picture once more. Oh, it looks like there's a bit of a gap. So using gumball, selecting the curve, click on the move arrow, the red move arrow, and you can move it by 20, for instance. Next, I want to duplicate a few of these posts. So you can see from the picture, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 posts, and of course there's one in the corner over here. Going back to my perspective view, come over to array. I use the rectangular array function. Okay, X direction, which is this way is X. I need 4, enter. Y direction, there's none, enter. Z direction, none, enter. Okay, now the spacing, I'm not quite sure. So I'm gonna type in a random number, say 1200, enter. And you can get a preview Now I know that 1200 is a bit too far. I'm going to click on this X spacing button over here. I'm going to change it maybe to 1100. Oh, that's too much. So it's probably somewhere in between 1100 and 1200. Let me give 1150 a try, much better. 1170, getting closer. 1175, let's give it a shot. Yes, that's pretty close. That's great. Now I've got them equally spaced out. Press enter to accept, enter. Seems to be touching perfectly. All right, that's fantastic. Now, the sizes in your model may not be exactly the same as mine, but you can definitely use this trial and error to get what you want. I'm going to create the rails. I'm going to start a line like this. Start it from here, at this point. Okay, I want it to go up. Switch my views to the front view. Go 1100. Usually the barrier is about 1200 in height. I've already had 100 here, so the balance would be 1100. Just in case you are wondering how I arrive at that number. I'm going to hold down my shift key and make sure I'm not touching anything. Okay, I'm just going to overdraw this a little bit like that. Then the next thing I'll do is draw a line from here to the top. Let me show you what's happening. It snaps perpendicular. In order to have that snap, make sure you turn on the perpendicular snap. Let me take a look. Alright, seems like it's nice and straight. I'm going to trim. Select the cutting object and trim that off. Now I've got these two lines. They are separate lines. I'm going to hold shift, select both lines and join them. Alright, nice and easy. Now I'm going to use the next command here. Go to surface, sweep one rail. Basically the idea is to take this shape and sweep it all around the entire rail. When they prompt you to select the rail, I'm going to select this. Then I'm going to select the shapes. This one here, press enter when done, and there you go. You've got the entire railing up. Now I'm going to extrude this. Go over to surface, extrude curve straight. Select this, hold shift and select that. Press enter. And alright, you've got all the railings up. Next, we need to have a post over here that kind of connects to this pole. Select one of these shapes here. To make a copy, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Now I'm going to drag the green arrow all the way there. First, I'm going to move this to the end. Then I'm going to move this back down by 20. So it's not entirely touching that wall. I'm going to start my line at the end. I'm going to type 1100, hold my shift, click, so it's nice and straight. I'm going to touch the end point like that. When I sweep it, select rail, select shape. Alright, nice. I've got a little bit of that support structure. And now I've got my balcony. Okay, I'm gonna do the glass later on because I don't really want any obstructions when I'm drawing the sliding doors here. Next thing I'm gonna do is draw the sliding doors. First I need to measure how wide is this wall from here to here. I'm gonna use the dimension tool. Somewhere nearby. Okay, it's 3520. Now I'm gonna use my line tool and draw a line. Type 3520, hold shift and click. I've got that line there. Can you see? Now I'm going to figure out what's the distance from here to here. Alright, it's 1050. Very nice number. I'm going to take this, I'm going to offset it. Just type offset. Okay, 1050. Click. Okay, great. Now I've got a starting line and this is where I will start drawing in the sliding doors. Now, before I do that, I just want to tell you that we have to make all the walls 3 meters high because earlier on when I had a look at these pictures, I realized they were definitely a lot higher than your regular 2.6 meters height. It seems to me that it's closer to a 3 meters ceiling. What we're gonna do is go into the walls layers over here. Just gonna lock the living room. Just make sure that nothing gets selected. Go in, get rid of the wall. I'll select this. Solid, extrude planar curve, straight. Then this time around, I'm going to type in 3000. Enter. Alright, now this wall is 3 meters high. Okay, I'm going to go around, get rid of this. Same thing. Select the lines. I'm going to repeat the last command and align it to the 3 meters wall. Get rid of this. Okay, this is the window I'm going to get rid of. Select this. Okay, align it to the 3 meters wall. I'm going to get rid of it. Okay, it's okay to get rid of the 3D objects, but never get rid of the lines, because with the lines I can easily generate the 3D object again. The lines are really important in Rhino. Okay, good. Get rid of this. Okay, this is a window. I'm just gonna leave it open for now. Alright, looks like the height's been rectified. I'm gonna go back to my living room. I'll switch the layers. Now I'm gonna continue with this sliding door. First, use the dimension tool and figure out how wide this needs to be. I'm gonna just round it to 920. Let me get to my top view for a more precise. Okay, I'll go 75. All right. Okay. 920, enter. And 75, enter. I'm gonna select this. I'm gonna solid, extrude planar curve all the way up straight. I've got one panel. Then I'm gonna create the offset. First, I need some lines in order to do the offset. So I'll go to curve, curve from objects, go duplicate the edges. You can select all the edges and turn them into lines. Enter. There are 4 separate lines. I'm going to quickly hit join before I deselect. Now I can go ahead and offset. I'm going to select this curve over here. I'm going to try 50. Maybe I'll try 75. 75 looks alright. And there you go, I've got the frame. Now, how do I cut this frame? I can use the trim function, and you have to do this in the front view over here, or it will not work. So type trim, select the cutting objects, enter. The line becomes the cutting objects. I'm going to click in the perspective view. I'm going to click here. So it cuts away the first layer, but for the second layer, I need to switch to the front view and select here. And there you go, you can punch out the entire shape using the simple trim tool. Okay, but now there's a hole here, so I'm going to use this exact same curve. I'm going to surface, extrude, straight, and I'm going to select the end of that line. Nice. I'm going to select this surface, hold shift and select the inside surface. I'm going to join this together. So now I've got one big frame. Then I'm going to select that same curve, go surface, planar curve to create the glass. Select the face, type move, click on the end point, and bring it to the mid, like that. Alright, so you have a glass in between the frame. Select both these objects, like that. So only the surface, not the lines. Okay, just leave the lines there. Then I'm going to group it together. So the group function is over here, or you can simply type group. Once this entire panel is grouped, I can go to the top view. I can hold Alt, and this creates a copy right away, like so. Can place it here. And once I've got both these door panels, I'm going to select both these groups, On the top view, I'm going to type mirror. Use that line to find the midpoint and mirror the two panels across. And there you go, I've got my balcony doors. So you can do the same for this railings as well. To create a glass here, I'm going to click here, then go to the front view. And this creates that front view curve, like so. Make sure it's positioned properly. Then go to surface, planar curves. Alright, make sure you select the surface type move. Move from the end point over here to the mid. There you go. You can just copy it. So Control C, Control V, move it from this point all the way to that point. Repeat, Control C, Control V, type move this point to the midpoint. And you have your glass paneling. Now, you may ask, why can't this have some thickness here? I think for rendering, it's fine to not have that thickness. We can just leave it as it is. That's one of the reasons why I kept it like a single face. Because after all, the output isn't a 3D print. It's merely a rendering. Therefore, that's why I did that. Now, for the final panel, what you want to do is the same thing. Use the right-hand view, which is a lot more accurate. Just pick this point. Alright, surface planar curves. Select the panel. Yep, move this from here to the mid. There you go. I've completed the living room. We're going to start building up bedroom 2. Let's take a look at the reference images. As you can see over here, this is the balcony that we've just created. And if I orientate my model as such, you'll see that this is bedroom 2 as in the pictures. There are altogether 3 frames, and the center frame seems to be a bit larger. There's a little bit of a drop down here. Alright, let's start creating it. I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to name this bedroom 2. I'll keep it black. Alright, jump into that next layer. I'm going to use the drawing over here. Copy, Control C, Control V. I'm going to move. I'm going to click on that corner and raise it up to the end. I'm going to use this, go solid, extrude planar curve straight down. I'm going to guess that's about 150 high. It goes solid, extrude planar curve straight. So this here would be my full height windows. Right now, I'm going to lock some of these layers, like the wall layer. I'm going to lock it. And I'll lock the living room as well. Now this would be active. Can you see I can't select the walls anymore? First thing I want to do is draw in the window panels. Let me just switch my view. I'm going to need to use the front view for this. If you can't see what's happening because of the lines, you can always switch your front view to a shaded view. That makes things easier to see. I'm going to attempt to do this panel here. You can see over here, there's the shorter panel and then there's a taller panel. My guess, because the height of the bed is around 450, I'm going to guess that this panel is going to be 600. I'm going to select the offset tool, select the bottom edge, go to my front view, type 600, and create a line offset here. And do the same thing. Now I'm going to guess the entire window panel size. To do that, I'm going to use the dimension tool and pull out dimension. Now I know this is 2800. Again, I'm going to guess these two panels are the same size and the one in the middle is wider. I'm going to guess that to be 750. Do offset, select that edge, come over to the front view, type 750, and do the same for the other edge. Now I've got the frame. Right now, I'm going to start creating all the individual frames. I need the outside line. In order to create the outside line, go to Curve, curve from objects, and then duplicate face border. I'll select the face, press enter, and it gives me the outside line. Very handy. So I'm going to use this outside line, go offset. I'm going to guess that the frame is about 70, okay, like that. Now I've got the outside frame, so I'm going to offset this on both sides by 35. I can't see the offset because I have to use the front view. Offset on the left, offset on the right. We do the same for this line, offset on the right, offset on the left. Do the same for this line, offset on the top, offset on the bottom. Alright, now I've got all the frames nicely done. I'm going to select this model here, and I'm going to lock it because I want to start trimming away, and I don't want to accidentally trim away the model. So type trim, select cutting objects, go ahead and select all of this. Because I've locked all the other layers, can you see it wouldn't be selected, so it's pretty safe. Press enter when done, enter, then I'll start trimming away. It's very satisfying to trim. That's one of my favorite commands. Alright, trimmed everything nicely. I'm going to select all these lines. I'm going to hit join. This becomes individual panels. I'm going to start trimming away the 3D model. So I'm going to unlock the previous object. To do this, I need both views. I need the front view as well as the perspective view. Go trim, select all of these panels. Make sure you're selecting only the curve. Once I'm done, enter. Next, I'm going to click on the middle. One by one, go to every single pane and click. Now I've got to cut the back. You can't cut the back from the perspective view. Go to the front view and start clicking. And there you go. You'll be able to punch out entire holes. Once that is done, hit the escape key. Say OK. And I've got my frame and my windows cut out. Go back, hold shift, and select all the curves. Go to surface, extrude curve straight. Yep, go to the endpoint and create all the insights. Alright, I'm going to select all of these and hit join. Make sure that you have joined the entire surface. I'm going to move it aside just to check whether there are leftover surfaces. So if there are none, that means everything is nicely joined. I'm going to select all of this curve again to create the windows. So surface, planar curves. Now all these are done. I'll select all of them, holding on to shift to select multiple. Move them from the corner to the mid. And there you go, you've got the windows. Alright, so bedroom 2 is done. You can go ahead, select all of them, and group them together. Now we're going to start with the master bedroom. We're going to create the windows here. First thing I'll do is go into my layers and set up the master bedroom layer. Switch my layer over to this. Change this color to black. Select the bottom line. Just make sure it's unlocked because I've locked it earlier. Select the bottom wall line. Copy and paste. Move this to the top. I'm going to select the top. Solid. Extrude planar curve straight down 150 to create the header, and I'm going to raise this all the way up. So this will be my windows. Now I'm going to lock the wall. Now let's take a look at the reference pictures. You can see over here, the master bedroom has one thin panel, slightly wider panel, and then back to the same size, which is a narrower panel. Then you got the end panel, which doesn't have a frame, kind of wraps around it nicely. So I'm going to use the sizes 750, 1300, and then 750, using the exact same sizes here. Alright, let's create the frames. I'm going to go to offset. I'll select the bottom curve. Alright, you want to use the front view, type 600, and create that line there. I'll select that curve there, 750, click. Then the next frame would be 1300, click. And then the next frame would be 750. I just need to create the sides. Turn on the shaded view and make sure this is 600. I'm going to create the outside frame. To do that, go to curve, curve from objects, and duplicate face border. I'll select this face and the sides. Press enter, and you have created the outside lines. So straight away, I'm going to hit the explode button to explode all of these lines. Then select this curve, hold shift, and select the sides as well as the bottom. Join them up. Do the same for the sides. Select those three curves, join them. Select the curves in the corners and get rid of them. Okay, now that I've got the outside border curve, I'm going to do an offset. Offset of 70. Okay, done. Then I'll do the same for the side panels. Alright, and finally I'm going to do this. I'm going to offset the individual window frames. So I'll select this curve. I'll offset by 35. Okay, from the right as well as the left. Do the same for both. And then do the same for this. Okay, let me just double check the sizes, make sure that it's all correct. Can you see it needs to be 645 and currently it's 680, so I need to minus 35. I'm going to select all these lines. I'm going to click this, minus 45, to kind of get them to shift in a little bit. And so now it's equal. Okay. 645. Oops. Need to move them by 10. Okay, double check them again. 645. 645. And the inside panel is 1230. Yeah, now it's correct. Okay, good. So now that I've got all the sizes done up properly, I'm going to select all of these lines and start trimming them away. In order to do that, make sure you lock all the layers. Just make sure that all the layers are locked. I'm going to select both of these and click the lock. Then I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to start trim. And then I'll get rid of all the lines. I use the zoom out and then the zoom in function to move around. Rather than using the pen tool, you can use the zoom function to move around. Okay, now I'm done with the front panel. I'll go over to the sides over here. Forgot to offset this. I'm going to select that line to offset top and bottom. Select the lines here. Type trim. And get rid of the lines there. The next thing I need to do is to join up all of these lines. Come over to the front view, I'll select them, like so, and then I'll join it together. Alright, for the end panels, I'm going to explode them. What we need to do is to select these lines here, join them. So you got to join them separately like so. I'm going to select these lines here and these lines here. Go to the top view, and I'm going to copy them inside. So Control C, Control V, and then move them from this point, hold Shift 100 and click. Alright, do the same for the side panels. Control C, Control V, move them from this point, type 100, then hold Shift, click. Go to the lines at the back. I'm going to unlock all the other surfaces first. So I'm going to select the lines at the back, hold Shift to select multiple lines. And then I'm going to go to height inverse. What this does is it will hide away everything else except for the lines that you selected. So you can see how they are kind of like crisscrossing each other. We're going to do a trim. So I'm going to select all these lines here to do a trim. So just clean up all the lines here. Once I've done that, hit escape, select the lines here, and join them together. Now you've got the lines front and back joined. To bring back all the other lines, right click on this to show the rest of the lines. Do the same for the front panels, join them up. And now we can start to trim off. Go to my views. I'm going to type in trim, select the cutting objects, select all these 3 panels, enter, and I start clicking into them. Come over to the front view and start clicking in. So it punches out the hole. Hit the escape key. Now I'm going to trim off the sides. Go to trim again, select these lines in front, then select the lines at the back. Press enter, then start clicking away. Alright, now you can start to cover the gaps. So I'm going to select all these curves in front. Go to surface, extrude straight. Nice. To cover the gaps here, I'm going to draw a couple of lines from here to here, here to here, and here to here. But then I'll be able to use surface edge curves. Select 2, 3, or 4 open curves. I can select 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then do the same for the other side. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Select these 2 edges, join them together. I'll copy and paste them. Then I'll move them from this end to this end. Copy and paste again, and move here to the bottom. Then do the same for the top. That looks good. Then go to surface, edge curves, and fill up the sides. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I've got all the gaps covered. I'm going to select all of them and hit the join button. This will join up all the surfaces into one big poly surface. Normally what I like to do is I drag this aside just to make sure there's no leftover surfaces. To do the windows, I'm going to show you a slightly different method. I'm just going to use the line tool. I'll start drawing a line in the middle over here. And right up to here. So I've got this line running across like so. Then I'm going to do the same from this point to this point. Then I'm going to select this curve and join them together. Once I've done that, I'll go to surface, extrude curve, straight. Just touch the bottom of the frame. Alright, so this is how you finish up the master bedroom windows.